What is going on? Putting Mom in a storage shed? Oh, that? Well, I got tired of taking care of her. I can't help it, okay? What? Are you kidding me? It was when I visited my mother-in-law at her house to take her to the hot springs that we found her in a pitiful state, trembling in the storage shed. Speechless at my sister-in-law's inhumane actions and the appalling conditions she forced on my mother-in-law, little did I know that divine retribution was about to befall my sister-in-law. I am a 46-year-old housewife. My husband is also 46, and we have a son. Our son has started living on his own as he's decided to go to college in a different state. I thought he'd go to a local university and we'd live together for a few more years even after he started working. But children leave their nest earlier than their parents expect. Earlier than anticipated, my husband and I suddenly found ourselves freed from parenting and had some spare time between just the two of us. How about we go on a spa vacation this long weekend? My husband's been coming home early lately, possibly due to recent changes in the work culture. It also seems like he's been going out for drinks a lot less. Oh, that sounds great. Our first trip alone since our honeymoon, right? Not just vacations, but I can't even remember going out to eat, just the two of us, since the last time in the early days of our marriage. We haven't dined out in that long. Yeah, but how about inviting your mom this time? My husband was surprised at my unexpected suggestion. We're both still in our 40s. We're still physically able to take care of my mother-in-law in case anything happens during the trip. Plus, we had declined her invitations several times since our son started grade school, citing parenting as an excuse. My husband's also been declining because of work, so without occasions like this, we might start drifting apart from her. When I explained my reasons, my husband agreed. My mother-in-law is currently living with my sister-in-law and her husband. We decided to try contacting my sister-in-law. I thought it might be better between women, so I called my sister-in-law. Perfect timing. I was wondering what to do with Mom since we were about to go on a trip. Lucky I found someone who can take care of her. We were on a speakerphone because my husband wanted to talk to his mother. Upon hearing my sister-in-law's self-centered comment, he was furious. Hey, what the hell do you mean by that? Oh, look what time it is. We're going to miss our flight. Ignoring my husband's suggestion, my sister-in-law emphasized her busyness and abruptly ended the call. What the hell is my sister doing? Is Mom okay with her acting like that? The excitement of seeing her after such a long time was overshadowed by growing anxiety. We need to go there right now. The in-laws' house is in the same city, but the area we live in is a newly developed residential area that has grown over the past 20 years. The area where the in-laws' house is located still has houses that have been standing since the 1920s. The in-laws' house was one of them, but it doesn't feel that old because it was rebuilt when my sister-in-law and her husband decided to live with my mother-in-law. After about a 20-minute drive, the roof of the in-laws' house came into view. We were able to enter the property, but the front door was locked and we couldn't get in. John knocked on the door and called out to his mom, but there was no response. I called Lisa to ask if they kept a spare key, but our calls didn't get through. Our anxiety increased as we desperately searched for a hidden key around the mailbox under the plant pots and such. It was then I spotted a figure in the corner of my eye. John was searching around the area when I saw the figure. Could it be in here? Murmuring, he looked into the shed and screamed. I rushed over and saw a person wrapped in cardboard and shivering in the shed. Mom? She was barely clothed, barefoot, with a pale face and unkempt hair. Her skin looked dry and an indescribable odor was emanating from her. How she looked didn't matter. I was concerned about her health. How long had she been abandoned like this in here? We need to warm her up. Hurry. I know. Damn it. Should we break the window to get in? Hold on. What about the backyard window? It might be open. The backyard was hidden from the street. I thought there might be a chance they had forgotten to lock it. As John moved swiftly, it turned out, just as I predicted, the window was not locked. John entered the house, unlocked the front door, and carried his mother inside. From then on, we moved around. working in sync like a well-practiced team of many years. I heated the room while John wrapped her in blankets. I changed her clothes while John prepared the bath. While I bathed her, he prepared the bed for her, and we got her all tucked into the bed. "Oh, it's so warm. It's like heaven," his mother murmured as she closed her eyes and appeared to drift off to sleep. "Your mom should have a family doctor at her age, right?" I suggested that we might call her doctor for a home visit, but we couldn't find her room. I had the odd feeling, when I was trying to find her a change of clothes, we were dealing with a life-threatening situation. So I borrowed clothes from Lisa. Lisa has a room full of clothes, but there wasn't a single item that seemed to belong to my mother-in-law. We looked for her insurance card or prescription data, but couldn't find them anywhere. So we searched online for a doctor who could make home visits. As soon as we got a doctor to visit, John reported it to the police. The doctor's diagnosis was that it could have been very dangerous if we had found her any later. It was said to be the coldest day this winter, and there might even be some snow along the mountains. The doctor also found signs of malnutrition and dehydration due to extremely low food and water intake. In addition, a skin rash caused by the appalling conditions she had been left in. She even got lice in her hair, which is unbelievable in this day and age. He gave us some prescriptions and told us to get her to her family doctor as soon as possible. While we were looking for her insurance card and other necessary items, we found the contact information for the care service that had been taking care of her. It was saved in the home phone's contact list, and fortunately, it hadn't been deleted. We had to find out what had been going on since we were busy and prioritizing our own lives, so we contacted the care service, and we were told that Lisa had suddenly terminated the contract one day without any warning. They couldn't do anything after the contract was abruptly terminated. I could tell that the caregiver had been genuinely concerned about my mother-in-law. She told me that occasionally my mother-in-law had bruises, indicating the potential of ongoing domestic abuse. The caregiver told us that they had tried to subtly inquire about it with Lisa, but she had just deflected the inquiry. Years of abuse on a daily basis. Was your mother enduring it? Damn it. Sure, I was overwhelmed with my first child back then, but it was not like I was so cornered that I could pay no attention to my mother-in-law. I deeply regretted taking advantage of my mother-in-law's words. It's okay. As a mother, it's natural that your child comes first. The numerous times she invited us over, it might have been her cry for help to get away from Lisa's abuse. To my constant expression of regret, my husband said, "It's not your fault. I'm equally to blame. Actually, I'm probably more at fault." Now it's only Lisa and her husband who can reveal the truth. We can't be sure of anything unless we hear it directly from Lisa, but she's the kind of person who could do such a thing without remorse. It's clear that a dispute over what was said or not said would arise later. We decided to record all our conversations over the phone. Lisa answered the phone, but she sounded annoyed to receive a call while she was enjoying her vacation. However, when my husband raised his voice, she gave in and started to speak flatly. I listened closely to the conversation on the speaker. My mother's forgetfulness was seriously getting on my nerves. I got so irritated and just lightly pushed the old hag, but the place she happened to be standing was the top of a staircase. She rolled down like a chunk of meat. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Lisa was referring to her own mother as a chunk of meat, and she was speaking in a tone as if she found it amusing. Then she couldn't stand up on her own. I knew it was bad, but I was just too tired of dealing with everything, so I figured I would just put her in the shed, Lisa continued on. You know how you just put away things you don't need or can't use in the shed? It's just like that, she said, laughing clearly. She was treating her own mother like an object. She casually dismissed her own mother who gave birth to her and raised her as useless. The thought was so selfish it made me sick. The caregiver doesn't know this, so it's all good. Just make sure you don't do anything unnecessary, okay? I understood then that Lisa realized how bad the situation was after she pushed her mother down, and so she unilaterally terminated the caregiving services. She said things like, "As long as she has water, she'll be fine for a week," or, "If she starts wandering around, we can just tie her up." It was so horrifying and unbearable to hear. "Oh, and you guys should cooperate too. If things keep going like this, she's going to die from weakness. If she does die peacefully, I'm thinking of sharing some of the inheritance with you guys. Doesn't sound like a bad deal, does it?" Lisa sounded she believed her plan was perfect and laughed absurdly. It was far beyond the realm of common sense. It was insane. I felt as if Lisa herself was a dangerous weapon, and I couldn't stop shaking with fear. My husband managed to let Lisa explain without objecting, merely nodding along. He vaguely responded to her request for cooperation, never clearly accepting or denying. He wanted to lower her guard and let her come home. This was because the police we called had already arrived there, and they were listening to our phone conversations as well. They had asked us to coax as much information out of her as possible, and to ensure not to let her escape by pretending to agree with her. John, my husband, probably wanted to outright deny and admonish what Lisa was doing. I never wanted to see his anguished face again, the one he wore, as he suppressed his emotions while listening to Lisa. I sincerely hoped we'd be out of this sadness soon. Lisa and her husband, completely unsuspecting of our collaboration with the police, enjoyed their trip to the fullest. They returned home exactly 1 week after we found out about their abuse against my mother-in-law. When I heard Lisa talk about her mother, I casually asked about their return schedule. The police were waiting to apprehend Lisa and her husband as they returned home, elated from their trip. An arrest warrant had already been issued, and they were arrested upon being shown the document. "What's going on? You're my real brother. Selling out your sister to the cops? What a lowlife you are. And you, cops, watch where you're touching me. I'll sue you, mark my words." Lisa, a middle-aged woman, spat out words like a washed-up thug. John looked at his own sister as if she were vermin. "The real lowlife here is you. Hey, officer, that guy, my brother, he's a sly fox, always been a liar." With a honeyed voice, Lisa tried to smear my husband's name, then audaciously started spouting nonsense. "Mom's been suffering from dementia for years. No matter how many times I explain, she insists the storage shed is her home. So isn't it better to let her do as she pleases? Even doctors say that yelling at dementia patients only makes things worse." But we already had Lisa's confession on tape. When John played back the recorded phone conversation, Lisa and her husband turned pale and sank to the ground. "From now on, you'll be behind bars. We managed to take care of necessary procedures while you were on your trip. Don't act so high and mighty, dumping the responsibility of that useless old woman on us. You have no right. You said you'd remain childless, taking up the responsibility of caring for our aging parents instead. It was you, Lisa, who asked us to give up our claim to the inheritance. This was probably a pact they had agreed on before John and I got married. You were the one who broke the pact first. If it was too much for you, you could have told me. That would have been fine with me." He spoke with a choked voice, saying he had always been ready to take care of his parents. Lisa's intention was to take care of her mother so that she could take all of the inheritance in return. However, her mother unexpectedly remained robust and lived longer than anticipated. Unable to bear this, Lisa hatched a plan to make her demise look like a natural death due to frailty. Regarding the ownership of the family home, it had remained under their mother's name since their father's passing. It was fortunate that the property was not under Lisa's name. Therefore, we decided to tear down the dilapidated family home and turn it into a vacant plot. We've decided to sell the plot later. The demolition schedule has already been set, so remove your personal belongings as soon as possible, my husband John calmly stated. "You must be joking. I'm arrested, you idiot. How am I supposed to do that?" "We've leased a storage unit for 3 years to store your belongings. Of course, it will be paid from your savings." "What? Who do you think you are, making decisions on your own? You used to be a crybaby, always calling for your big sister. Now you've grown quite a spine, huh? Lisa raged about him making decisions with her money, but John remained unfazed. He also mentioned that if the lease could not be extended within 3 years, they were free to dispose of the contents. Lisa could only gape in response, unable to argue back. It was a clear victory for us. The police finally said, "That will be enough," and shoved Lisa and her husband into a police car to take them away. They resisted to the very end and had to be carried away like luggage. In the following days, the demolition of our parents' house proceeded smoothly. Turns out, my mother-in-law was not actually suffering from dementia at all. Some forgetfulness is due to aging, something everyone will eventually experience. It's not the kind of forgetfulness that causes inconvenience to others. I too sometimes forget what I was about to do, only to remember after a while. My mother-in-law was like that too. Thanks to her, there was absolutely no legal power for Lisa to fight against her decision to dispose of the house, as my mother-in-law was the rightful owner. Lisa and her husband didn't take their belongings out from the house, so we demolished the house with their stuff still inside. Now they are in jail. They didn't seem to know they could have kept their things if they paid for some arrangements. They could have had a court-appointed attorney and have that lawyer hire a company to move their belongings. Lisa and her husband's deeds were broadcasted on TV in a segment like True Stories That Seem Unbelievable. It was referred to as a modern-day granny dumping incident. Subsequently, Lisa and her husband were charged with elder abuse by persons responsible for protection. They were also proven guilty of neglect, so they would likely spend quite some time behind bars. We managed to sell the now empty plot for a high price. We also decided to sell our current house, as it stood in a location that was frequently ranked high on most desirable places to live lists. Even as a second-hand property, it fetched a decent price. We used that money to build a house for the 3 of us, including my mother-in-law, at a location where we'd feel comfortable when we get old. It was a 1-story, elderly-friendly house. The town had regular bus service and excellent care services were available. After the change in environment, my mother-in-law has become remarkably healthier. She walks with her back straight and doesn't miss her daily morning exercises. Now she enjoys tending to the home vegetable garden with me every day. We'll soon have the vegetables we grew together on our dinner table.